Thunder rolled across Makula like the drums of angry spirits. The wind howled through the narrow paths, tossing sand into open doors and restless hearts. Clouds hung heavy, dark as a curse waiting to break. The villagers ran for cover, clutching their wrappers and baskets. Inside the courthouse, murmurs filled the air, sharp and low like the hiss of snakes. Everyone felt it. Something powerful was about to rise. The storm cracked again. The old storyteller sitting in the corner raised his head slowly. "When thunder shouts before judgment," he whispered, "truth has already chosen a side." His words slid through the crowd like smoke. The air grew still, then the doors burst open with a deafening slam. She entered. Her clothes were soaked, her steps unshaken, the torn envelope pressed against her chest as if it carried her soul. Eyes followed her. The guards stiffened. The chief sat high, wrapped in his fine robe, gold rings winking under the flickering lanterns. Her voice cut through the murmuring. For years, the word echoed against the walls like a drumbeat. "I paid every month. Where's my money, Chief Bako?" The crowd froze. No one moved. Even the storm seemed to pause, waiting. The chief leaned back, his face calm, his smile sharp as a blade. Rings gleamed on his fingers, heavy with secrets. He looked at her the way a crocodile studies its next meal. The crowd exchanged glances. The town elder bent toward another man and muttered, "That girl's spirit is louder than sense." But still, no one dared to speak. Fear hung thicker than the rain outside. Her feet moved forward, steady and strong. The torn envelope trembled in her hand. "You took my savings. My hope? You promised a return. Where is it?" The chief smirked. "Young woman, your mouth runs faster than your luck." Gasps swept through the crowd. Some turned their heads. Others bowed in silence. The thunder outside rolled again, deeper, closer, as if the sky itself had heard. Her eyes blazed. Days. On the morning of the last payment, drums echoed through the streets again, but this time the rhythm was slower, heavy with waiting. The people gathered in bright cloth, smiles wide, songs ready. She walked proudly, holding her wooden box close. It was her proof, her sacrifice, her hope. But when she reached the chief's office, the door was shut. A crooked sign hung outside under renovation. The men who collected the payments were gone, their stools empty, their smiles erased. Confusion turned to fear. She searched all morning and found the chief later at a council meeting. His laughter filled the air like thunder without rain. She stepped forward and raised her box. "It's been for years," she said, her voice steady. "When will we receive our return?" The chief laughed again, louder, "Return. My dear, you gave gifts to the government. There was no promise." The men around him laughed too, the sound sharp and cruel. Her voice hardened. "I didn't give you gifts. I gave you trust." The laughter stopped. For a moment, even the wind seemed to listen. Then he waved his hand and turned away. The meeting continued, but the people's eyes followed her as she walked out. Some pitied her. Some feared for her. None spoke. That night, the drums in Makula were silent. The air felt heavy. Her grandmother's breath grew thin. Worry had entered her bones. "Child," she whispered, "don't anger those who own the land and the law." But the fire in the young woman's eyes burned too bright to fade. Her friend visited, voice low and trembling. "Leave it," she said. "You can't fight a man who owns the police and the priest." The young woman clenched her fists. "Then I'll fight with what I have, my truth." Her grandmother coughed again, the sound like dry leaves breaking. "Truth is a strong weapon," she murmured, "but it cuts deep." The night stretched long and restless. Outside, the mango tree, strange marks. The ink was red, the paper old. When they opened them, they found something worse than theft. Documents proving that the government program had never existed. Every letter was fake. Nuru's fingers brushed a book bound with leather, sealed with red wax. He broke it open. Inside, strange symbols and old names filled the pages, not just villagers, but ancestors. "This isn't just fraud," he whispered. "It's a curse dressed as business." The woman touched the book with care. "Then the curse will meet its end." Nuru lifted his camera and took pictures of everything. "By sunrise," he said, "the world will know who Chief Bako really is." "Then, write fast," she told him. Snakes move quicker when cornered. They packed the papers and prepared to send them to the city. Hope felt near, close enough to touch. But dawn brought silence instead of triumph. When the first light came, Nuru was gone. His mat was empty, his bag untouched. The woman waited an hour, then two, her chest tightening with dread. By noon, word came from the riverbank. Children had found a phone ringing in the mud. She ran there, her feet flying faster than fear. The device lay half buried, its screen cracked. She pressed play. A man's voice came through, broken but clear. "They're coming for her next." The recording ended with a splash, then silence. Her heart pounded. She looked at the river.com and cruel, as if it knew a secret it would never tell. She lifted her eyes to the sky. If truth costs this much, she whispered. Then I'll pay in full. The storyteller's voice rose like the wind. When truth walks too close to power, he said, power turns into a beast. But beasts bleed too. The village could feel the coming storm. The chief's men moved through the streets with forced smiles. Their laughter sounded like drums of war. In the market, whispers replaced songs. The people traded glances instead of greetings. Children no longer sang the old promise for years and riches come. They now sang something new, something sharp. 4 years of lies, 4 years of pain, truth will rise and break the chain. Even the wind carried the tune, soft but certain. The woman gathered what remained, the ledgers, the pendant, the memory of her grandmother's words. She placed them inside a small sack and tied it tight. That night, she sat beside the fire Nuru had built days before. The flames danced like voices of the ancestors. She spoke to them softly. He burns my house. He takes my friend, but he cannot burn the truth. It's already written in fire. The night answered with a single gust of wind, bending the flames but not killing them. Somewhere beyond the hills, the chief feasted his laughter loud enough to reach the stars. But even laughter can tremble when truth begins to walk. The next day, strangers came again to the market. Men from the city asking about the missing journalist. No one spoke, but eyes turned toward the same path, the one that led to the chief's compound. The woman followed them quietly, her steps slow, her voice silent. She did not need to speak now. The story had begun to speak for itself. The storyteller's voice returned, deep and strong. Truth is not a drum that stops when beaten. It echoes through generations. It hides in ashes, whispers in rivers, and waits for the brave to listen. He paused, his tone heavy with meaning. And in Makula, one woman still listens. Her fire still burns, her fight not yet done. For when one voice dares to rise, silence begins to die. The wind moved through the trees again, carrying the echo of her promise. They think fire will stop me. Fire made me. And from far away, the drums began once more, slow, steady, and unyielding, calling the spirits to watch what came next. You said write the exact word count as mentioned. Could you please specify what that word count should be? For example, 800 words total, or 150 words per subheading? Coverage? Do you want me to write the full script for all 11 subheadings in one flow? Or should I begin with just the first section? Chief Bako's birthday celebration fills the night air so you can review the tone, rhythm, and dialogue style before I continue the rest. Write the exact word count as mentioned. But in this outline, you haven't mentioned how many words the script should be. For example, 800 words total, or 150 words per subheading. Please confirm one of the following before I proceed to write. Do you want the entire script covering all subheadings to be a fixed total word counter? Do you want me to write around? The night hums with quiet power. The fire glows soft and red, its breath thin like an old spirit. The storyteller lifts his hand and the crowd stills. Sparks rise, floating like tiny stars into the black sky. Listen well, his deep voice rolls like distant thunder. The people lean close. Even the smallest child forgets to blink. The hush grows thick, ready to hold every word like gold. The stick strikes the ground once. Dust jumps. Patience is power, he begins, slow and steady. But blind patience feeds the greedy. A soft murmur stirs through the crowd. Wrinkled faces nod, lips whispering old proverbs. A child frowns, counting the meaning. The storyteller's eyes shine. Waiting is wise, he continues, but silence helps the thief. Those who stay quiet too long lose more than words, they lose truth. The fire crackles louder as if agreeing. The people nod again. Wisdom tastes heavy tonight. The storyteller points upward. Zuri did not only wait, she rose. The crowd leans forward. The word rose feels alive. She shouted when others whispered. His voice climbs strong and proud. When truth slept too long, she woke it with her courage. From the crowd, a young voice asks, wasn't she afraid? A pause. The storyteller smiles slow. Courage fears nothing, he says, because fear bows to purpose. The fire spits bright sparks. Heads lift higher. Hope begins to hum through the air like a song the wind remembers. Zuri gave her money, her peace, her time, the storyteller says. 4 years gone to shadows. 4 years feeding lies that chained her. Faces tighten. The people listen hard. He nods once, then adds, but every lie has an end, and every wound can turn to strength. The crowd breathes deep as his words fall heavy. She bought her justice with courage. That was the price truth asked of her. The fire cracks loud, like a drum calling the ancestors to witness. Hands come together in quiet claps, not for noise but for honor. The people stir. One woman stands. Zuri taught us to speak, she cries. Another voice rises, and never let fear eat truth again. The storyteller laughs a deep, rolling sound. Now you are the story, he says. The same fire burns in you. The same courage walks your bones. Laughter and cheers ripple through the night. The flame dances higher, proud and wild. The village breathes as one, their hearts beating like drums made of light. The storyteller lifts his gaze. The clouds gather thick and dark. A low rumble rolls across the sky. He raises his hand again. Even the clouds bow when truth walks tall, he says, his voice calm as thunder's echo. The fire flickers low but burns steady. The people raise their voices, strong and sure. Zuri lives in us all. The wind swirls through the crowd, lifting the last sparks into the stars. The night listens and smiles.